I sort of accidentally found myself here in this position. My background's in sales and advertising, never really set out to build a business, certainly not to raise venture capital. But almost 12 years ago, found myself laid off, really, really pregnant in a new city, and kind of like, oh gosh, like now what am I going to do and who's going to hire me? And so started to look around of where do I see problems and needs and how can I solve them, and started plugging holes in businesses. And that really, really quickly grew. And we didn't even know enough to call ourselves executive assistants at that point. We were plugging holes in businesses. And so after a handful of months, my co-founder and I, both new moms at that time, were like, hey, we should start a business. Like, let's go to the bank and open up a bank account. And fast forward now almost 12 years. And we're still going. We've since started a second company that is software. We raise venture funding. And what we do is provide software and high caliber executive assistance to leaders who need help.
Love that. So tell me a little bit more about that creation point, that point where you said you're plugging gaps. Like, tell me more about that. Like, what was that like? Like, how did you even get into the place of like plugging gaps? Like, how does that happen?
Yeah, it's so interesting that it's coming full circle, because I'm very type A, always a like high achiever, very productive person. So that served me well. And I was just asking around and got to friends of friends, and eventually we were introduced to a new company that they're an accelerator and they do a series of events, but they were just getting started. Very first client, who's still our client today, and they've continued to grow a ton. So that's a really fun story. But they were just a couple of people sitting around like, we don't even know what we need help with, but here are all the things to do, and can you jump in? And then they just started telling their friends. And I think when you have someone really great who's helping you, they start interfacing with the people around you, and people are like, oh, where'd you find this person? And that is kind of where we started. So other entrepreneurs, it was a lot of people working from home, which wasn't really much of a thing back then, right? Like Slack didn't even exist, or we didn't know about it, certainly. A lot of people working from home or who were traveling a lot, and they didn't want somebody full-time in their house, but they were also like, I can't do all of these things. I can't actually move my business forward if I'm sitting here handling my emails or booking my travel or just all the logistics that a business requires. And so that just became our niche. And eventually we're like, oh, I guess we're kind of doing things like an executive assistant. We should call it that.
Yeah. Can you remember, like, I don't know, but can you remember that moment of thinking, oh, I think we have a business here? Like, do you remember that moment?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And what was that like? Was that exciting? Was that scary? What was that like?
It was really exciting, because originally it was just going to be me working a few hours, just had a baby, was not intending to jump into something really crazy. But then the requests kept coming in. And so started adding more people. And so when we started doing the math and like, gosh, we know all these really highly talented people who have availability right now. And we're hearing from all of these people who need help, like we could actually turn this into something interesting.